Hey everybody, it's Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and we are getting started in just a few minutes. I wanted to give you a chance to click onto the files that are there in the Facebook group or in the description box, and I'm not sure where it is depending on your mobile device or if you're watching by laptop, but I have it in the files section, and in the description box I have a Google Drive file that is set up for you so that each day it's sorted out for the videos, the audios, and any handouts. And I've got a couple of little extra handouts that I'm going to just be showing to you. And they're a great little tool that I like to work with. And so I'll be showing that out to you real soon. We still have about 2 minutes. So go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to take care of stuff on my side, and I will see you soon. Just reminding everybody that if you want to be able to let me see your comments or ask questions, be sure and like the live stream app. That lets live stream know that you and I have business together, and that will allow me to see you, see your name, and be able to see and respond to your questions. So be sure and do that. If you are watching this at a later time, be sure and type in hashtag replay, and I'll keep an eye on that. Since this is being simulcast on YouTube platform at the same time, there may be some people who have questions or comments. Be sure and question and comment there. Smash that like button. I really appreciate that. And you have access to the same Google files. I've got the link to the Facebook group and the link for how to work with me if you want to reach out to me. Okay, so we are getting started in just about 30 seconds. People are coming on. Hello and welcome, everybody. It's day 3 of the Master Your Money Mindset Challenge. How are you doing? This is probably one of my very favorite topics that I talk to people about. I use it in my personal life. I'll give you an example of that. And I'm going to show you how to start to train your mind to naturally seek a solution, to give you information in a way that's in alignment with your highest and greatest good. And suddenly I got the sniffles, forgive me. What'll happen is I teach this method called the One Command, and I teach seminars called Commanding Wealth, and spend a lot of time teaching people how to use the phrase, how to go up into theta by rolling their eyes up, how to expand out. And everybody asks a lot of questions about how do I know I'm in theta? And how do I know the command's going to happen? And when's it going to happen? And this is the critical piece in getting your manifestation to appear, to draw it to you. But also, this is the crucial piece that connects into your higher level of thinking, your intuition, and helps you map out that journey so that you can make a working plan so that you know what action to take. It comes down to this. If you can't see yourself doing it, then it's not going to get done. But your vision, unless you see yourself as someone who does it, your vision isn't even going to appear. So we're working with both sides, okay? And what we're doing today is a method that is a mapping. It's called mapping across. And yesterday I shared how to have an inner conversation with yourself about your experience, about what you believe is happening, why it's happening. And I did the 2 parts. So I want to open up and just see if we have any questions before we move on, any comments on how the challenge is working for you so far. So if you're on, be sure and say hi. Really appreciate that. Really love getting the feedback. All right, wonderful. Well, I'm going to jump over here to the handouts. And the regular handout itself can be found, and it's a two-parter. Okay. And you can find this in the Google Drive and in the files section. And the way the folder is set up, you can see that I have everything. Let's see if it'll show it to you. Yeah, you can see that I have everything. Why did it leave me? It left me. I went too far out. Okay, so got the Google folders. There's the students. Hey, maybe this is helpful to you to see how I am organizing this. So every time that I have anytime I set up a challenge or a program, I have the materials that I'm gathering, that I'm working on, and then I start setting up the student files right away. I have it divided up by the days. And then I've even got some extra bonuses, like this is the call that I did the other day. Okay, so this way, let me go back. There we go, to the students. If this is helpful, let me know. And I've got some other bonuses in here. I've got the ebook, the Mastering 6 Steps to the One Command. I've got the action guide, and then a little extra video that I did a while back. Today, what I have in the folder, because I'm working with StreamYard and I need a caption, there's the big banner for today that you saw. There's the handout. And then I've got two extras. I've got, this is a swipeable file. I have permission to share this. This is not my own work, but this is called Business Model View, and it's how you use the business model Genie. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what I wanted to talk to you first about is, I don't know if you've ever had this happen. You go, here's the action steps. I want to do the thing. And then you kind of get bogged down. And then you don't know what you don't know, right? Or you might even get hung up on what you think you know. So the process I'm going to teach you today is how to kind of clear your mind, use the one command, and ask yourself some different questions. And the techniques that we're working with today are techniques that I work with my private clients, teaching the commanding wealth, but also you may see these through some neurolinguistic programming methodologies too, just to kind of let you know whose shoulders I'm standing on here. Okay. We have all probably read a list like this. This is from one of my favorite books that we're starting off with, is 7 Mistakes Coaches and Solopreneurs Make. And it's from a book called Big Boom, How to Ignite Your Life, Blow Up Your Barriers, and Get Explosive Results in the Entrepreneur Revolution. And Mel Ethan Cutler is the guy, and he's awesome. He's very energetic, and I got his book. I have it on my Kindle. I've read it for a couple of years, and I go through his book from time to time to get some inspiration or clarity. But what he says is that the number one mistake that coaches and solopreneurs, which is his audience, but I would say anyone who's in business, but if you think about it too, don't you have to have a compelling vision about your health? Don't you have to have a compelling vision about relationships and your life choices? You've got to have that vision. Without that vision, nothing's going to happen. And very often in business, we have a big idea, but it's not quite that compelling vision that pulls you forward. What happens is we get that big idea and we go out and we try to push and make it happen. And it's your vision that has all the information that you need. And your vision aligns to your mission, your values, your purpose. And then from that vision, you're going to get the strategies and the tactics. This is another mistake. We really have to start with that vision because so many people try to do the tactics, they try to do the stuff, the little tricks, but they never really have that one cohesive plan on, okay, once I do this, then what? People try to launch a program, do the product launch thing, but then they're on this treadmill. I got on the treadmill with my practice pretty early in the seminars because every month I was trying to fill up the next class. I would work really hard for about a month, and then I was always thinking about the next classes ahead because as I was marketing, not necessarily everyone was ready to sign within the next 2 weeks. I knew for the next year I was going to be doing that, and I had my schedule set up, but it just got to be a treadmill. And I got to where I wasn't looking forward to the classes like I wanted to because my lack of vision actually stopped me from seeing what the greater income potential was, but also how I could serve my students in the bigger way. I had one of the first classes I taught was a practitioner certification course, and it was only 3 days, and then I would let people retake the class if they wanted to. But the biggest mistake I made, and so many people make who do any kind of certification, we could talk about Reiki people, hypnotherapist, NLP, but anyone who enrolls people into their business, the number one mistake they make is not have a way to nurture those people once they have taught them. That leaves your student going from thing to thing to thing, right? And so we're going to talk more about that. My biggest regret is that I didn't set up a coaching program for everybody who took that class. I think I ran something like 450 people through my program that year. And if only half had signed up for an ongoing coaching, like a practitioner development and some business coaching and that type of thing, if only half had signed up, my income would have quadrupled in that first year. So you got to think more than how do you get that one client or sell that one class or sell that one product or make that one deal. You got to have a compelling vision. Number two, which is what we're working on today, you're working on today, good for you, holding on to those limiting beliefs. And the thing is, we started out with you either have an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset. And when you're in that scarcity mindset, it makes good sense to think in a scarcity way. It seems like it would be more realistic. But just like people who are pessimistic versus optimistic, if you think about it, it would make more sense that the pessimistic people would be safer and happier because they're actually right when they're in everything that they're saying. I really normally could not disagree with anything that a pessimistic person has to say. They are right. But science has shown, study after study has shown that it's the optimistic people who accomplish greater things. So if you're still noticing that there's some rollback or resistance or you're repeating patterns, then it is the result of limiting beliefs. Okay? We can't know our consciousness. We can only know the results. And if we are noticing that we're having a result that we like or we don't like, then it's up to us because what do we have? We have awareness, number one, right? We are in that new awareness. And what do we say? When you don't know what it is, it's a pattern. It's a program. But once you know, what is it? It becomes a choice. So we've got to make that decision to be committed to uncovering those limiting beliefs and meet them head on and to give up the excuse of making habits. The other is failing to control negative emotions. And that is the fearfulness or anger, getting frustrated. But this is also, there could be shame, regret, there could be jealousy. And all of those negative emotions, we deal with them. I don't judge those, but we get in a habit of negativity and letting our emotions run our day. I say this as a person who has an anxiety disorder. Guys, we've talked about this before, that I have a thyroid issue. my medication for it. It affects my emotions. Sometimes I have to bump up, I'll take a little extra medication. Sometimes I have to rest. I have to kind of build my life around this, right? But I'm taking 100% responsibility, and I'm developing strategies. What I'm teaching you today is my number one strategy that actually helped me work through the anxiety. And recently, oh, hey, how are you doing? Recently, I found out that for a year I was taking the wrong medicine, and it was causing big health issues. And then I was starting to lose days over this. And I was powering through because my mother used to say I'm stubborn, but I'm very tenacious, right? But I have that really strong driver, and that has always been with me. And I have a lot of discipline when it comes to work. And that really did pull me through. My commitment to my plan and commitment to my students, that helped, right? That really made a big difference. But once I got off the medication, I had to retrain my mind and my emotions. And I was talking to my doctor about it. And I said, well, my plan to manage this is, we did the step down, we did the stuff. I'm making sure I get the rest and nutrition, water, all of that stuff, exercise. But I said, my plan is this. I'm noticing that I'm not quite able to take action as quickly, and I don't quite have the bandwidth. So I need to increase that. So my plan is to first visualize what it is I want to do. I'm going to write out the steps on everything that I know to do on it. And then I'm going to mentally rehearse myself doing the steps. And then I'm going to go back and actually do the steps. Are you getting this? Right? I'm going to actually do the steps. And then I'm going to see where I got stuck on each one. And then spend some time on mental rehearsing, or see how I could break it down, or if there's anything that I could maybe assign to another person, get a contractor like off of Fiverr or Upwork or something. Or maybe it'll be time to have a partner who can take on some things for me. I was a SARS partner. I was that driver, and I could handle all this grunt backwork stuff. And I was really, I was able to move a lot forward because of the skill set I had. So I've got to be willing to look at that, right? But if I just get in a war or an argument with my emotions, I'm not going to serve anybody. By the way, my doctor was super impressed. That made me feel so good. She said, I'm going to write down the steps. And she said, and then I said, well, I'll write them down for you, and I'll let you know how it goes. So that was my steps. What do I want to do? Visualize making it happen, writing down the steps. Then visualize myself doing the steps. Then as I do the steps, notice how I'm doing on each one. And because I've broken it out, I can check and see where I'm getting hung up. Sometimes we just get tired. I wanted to do some work on my website last night and realized I have no mental bandwidth left. So I'm going to go ahead and watch the movie. Okay, so failure to control them. I got an incredible process for that too, on getting that controlled. And if you want to know more about that, I'll be sure and share that with you. Failing to learn how to sell. This is such a big one. And this is why we're doing this one today, that if you are not selling, you are not bringing money into your business, period. There's no other way that you bring money into your business other than selling. Everything else is a grant or a loan, right? It's very temporary. But what hangs people up is their negative beliefs about themselves, about their situation, about the outer world, about their worthiness, about how they serve customers. And this is all the stuff that we're working on, guys. But selling is a skill. And in order to grow as a human being, you have to keep developing your skill set. This is the one thing that is a big reason that a lot of people want to build funnels and do all that. And that is important. And I'm talking about it. I'm going to be sharing with you some things, some basic steps on that. But that's not what this class is about. This class is about the mindset, not the mechanics or the tool set. I've been sharing some tools along the way. But everybody tries to build this system out in front of them, but they have never really sold, or they don't have a clear selling system. And they haven't really spent that time speaking with people one on one to find out what are the real objections. What are, we think we might know, and we know what our journey was, but we really have to get out among the living and find out what is really working in the real world. And because of that lack of ability to sell, it keeps the system from working. You can't even hire salespeople. You have to know how to sell it yourself first before you could teach a salesperson to actually work effectively for you. So selling is an incredible skill set. I mean, when I was young, my mama, my sweet mama Carolyn, wanted me to know how to wait tables so that I could go anywhere in the world, no matter what happened, I could get a job. So what did I do? I went out and I learned to wait tables. And that, knowing how to do that little basic thing, saved my butt. I wish my mom, at the time that she taught me, she had not had this experience. That she said, why don't you learn a skill that will take you all over the world and you can get really well paid for. When she told me that first time, she was in a scarcity mindset. She didn't want me to starve, right? An interesting thing happened when my adoptive father died when I was 22 and she was a widow at age 48. Her first job that she got, even though she had worked in the apartment industry, and she wasn't in the apartment industry yet. She'd had businesses and worked a little things because we had the grocery stores, but she got a job in sales. And she just went out there doing everything she thought a good salesman did, having no experience. And in her first 6 months, she outsold all of the old guys who told her to stop working at 3 and were golfing in the afternoon and taking off holidays. She went out there and she just was visiting people and making friends. And she outsold them all, and she wanted to be in salesperson of the year. Her first 6 months, she qualified for that. And later she said, I wish someone had told me about sales sooner. So now I'm telling you about sales, and any degree that you can learn to sell, commit to it. Okay. Number 5, failing to learn effective marketing. We kind of get this idea about marketing and we do all this stuff, but we really don't know how to be effective, starting with who is your ideal client, the messaging, and what position are you standing from as the marketer, which is the way to think about it. Who are you to share the message? Who are you to be the one to deliver the service, right? You've got to have that inner positioning before you position your product or service out in the bigger market. And then knowing which platform. Now there's so many ways to do it, but you still got to learn how to do that. What are the basic skill sets there? Visioning is going to help you find out what is the best marketing system for you to pursue. Failing to learn just some basic management skills, knowing what your key activities are. What are your key performance indicators? Like, how do you know how well you're doing or not doing? How are you keeping track of money? How are you taking care of your customers and keeping track of leads? What is your back end management system? And for a lot of people, it's just a notebook and a bunch of Post-its. Some people, it's their appointment calendar, but there's a lot more to do it. So you need to learn some management skills so that you can manage your resources and be able to take care of yourself more effectively and the people that you serve. And finally, he says failing to take massive action. And that comes from Tony Robbins. He's a Tony Robbins student, and that is a big one, right? But I have found as I'm getting older, massive action, I don't have the bandwidth. I'm going to tell you the truth, but super focused action. And I work in cycles now. And so what I'll do is I will intentionally throw myself out of balance when I have a push, but I'm really focusing on one activity at a time, serving one customer to get one product or program sold and going deep with that. And so getting all of that clear actually helps you start building momentum. But if you have the bandwidth to really blast it out there and work all those hours and drink all that monster and all that stuff, I'm going to say more power to you. But you could actually, it doesn't have to be all you, does it? Coming back to those management skills, a lot of people fail to realize that what they need to do is to build a team right away. And they make the mistake I made, which was trying to be the Lone Ranger and learn it all and do it all and handle it all. And everything starts getting smaller. Your world doesn't expand out because everything starts collapsing down to what you're able to personally manage. And that's going to block your prosperity. I want to tune in with you guys, see how we're doing. Is this making sense? I'd love to get some feedback. How are y'all doing today? Any questions or comments? Anything to add right now? We're quieter today. But hey, if you're watching this later, be sure and do the hashtag replay and post your question or comment. I am actively watching for those. Okay? All right. So let's dive in here. Before we do, I showed you what the idea. Oh, I'm doing it on the wrong page. How many people have seen one of these before? This is called a business canvas. It's an incredible tool to help you put onto one page what the map of your business looks like. You know, like there's who are your key partners, and that could be like for me, my key partners are working with Kartra. I'm working with. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to go through this. I realized that would actually take us off track, but it starts kind of asking you through, and then as I pointed out, this explains this model view actually walks you through what the process behind this is, what the science is. This is incredible. But I tell you, before I really got down on this vision training, it really, I would get overwhelmed or locked down. I couldn't figure out how to get the answer. So there's a saying that I just love and I try to adhere to it, and it's vision without action is just a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. That's a Japanese proverb. So I'm going to walk you through this. I'm trying not to give personal examples. I feel like we kind of are getting into story time with Kathryn a little bit. But just what is your goal? And just it could be a money goal, it could be client goals, whatever it is. So, but write your goal. Money is really easy to come up with. Write down what your money goal is in sales in the next 90 days. Now, you could do the same thing with this and saying, I want to have 4 new JV partners. My goal is to fill up my referral base. I want to have, if you're an MLM, I want to have 2 people on each of my legs and those getting their first 2 people, whatever, right? So what is your goal? Money is so clean and simple. But then what is how many sales do you need in order to achieve that goal? And this is where a lot of people get hung up too. They go, oh, I just want money, money, money is coming to me easily. Money, 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 right? They want to go into that happy feeling and thinking about it, but then they're really thinking about, let's break it down a little bit. Back in the older days when I was in an apartment and it was like, how many apartments need to be occupied? How many apartments do you have? 300 units. How many units have to be occupied in order to maintain our 98% goal? That was we had to have no more than 12 that we were turning each month. So in order to meet that 98%, we always had to have no more than 6 vacants each month. Okay, I think my numbers are off, but you know where I'm going with this. So how am I going to make sure I convert those 6 apartments to maintain 98% occupancy, right? We have to break it down. And this is where a lot of people don't think about it. So if you want to generate $50,000 a month as your income goal, how many um, how many things do you have to sell to make that happen? Hey, let's just make it easy. Sell one $50,000 training to a company, or 10 new coaching clients at 5,000 each. I've got a little program that I'm going to be announcing. If I just sent out an email on it, you probably got it today. I'm putting together a little 6-month group. It's going to be the most affordable group for anyone who wants to go ahead and get 3 or 4 clients in this next 30 days. And I've got some conditions on that, but I also help people get started. And if you want to talk about that, send me a message, but check your email today. It's kind of exciting. All right. So what is it that you have to do? 10 coaching clients at X amount of dollars, get that figured out. Then you want to do a brain dump. And the reason this is so important is what we actually know, and everything to know is less than 5%, right? You might think, no, I know a bunch about this. I know what to do, Kathryn. I'm just not sure how to do it. Or I know what to do, and I know intellectually how to do it, but I don't know what I don't know because it's not happening. I'm not quite able to get the action on it. Or you might go, you know what? I know what to do. I know how to do it. I've done it before. I know the action steps, but I'm just not taking action. So then you might have some emotional or mental limiting belief or block around that. But go ahead and write out everything that you know. So what is the product, service, or program that you want to promote? Okay. Yesterday I gave an example on how to kind of chunk this down in the part 2. Okay. Hey, I want to sell a coaching program to small companies that have 100 employees or less. Great. What would that look like? Right. And I just started breaking it down. And then if I wanted to do that, who would I want to talk to? Right. So these are just some prompts to kind of help you with what do you know? What's the next thing? What's your idea about it? Where would you find them? How does your client help people? You know, in the commanding sales presentation, one of the hidden demotivators in the congruency is people aren't really sure if their product helps or not, or they don't exactly know how, and they don't know what pain or problem their product or service solves or resolves for them, or what hope, wish, or desire it fulfills. So simple, right? But we've got to be able to answer those questions and be congruent. In just brain dumping, what are the key activities to connect with your client? Well, I got to make sure I send out emails, or I'm making phone calls, or I'm connecting in with referral partners. I'm sending out emails. I'm doing Facebook Lives. What are the key activities to connect with your client? What are the steps in your sales process? And a lot of people don't realize they have a sales process. And unless you have a sales process, the customer's buying process is always going to take dominion over that. That's what's going to take control, because you've got to know what your process is. Who would be a good referral or maven to reach your ideal clients? Or, excuse me, that was supposed to be ideal. Pardon the typo. So you're going to spend a little time brain dumping. I'm going to see if we've got any questions on this. I'm on my hotspot, and it makes me feel like I'm not getting responses, because I do see I've got some folks on. If you're on, do me a favor, just say hi so I know that you're hearing me and you're with me. I'm going to wait, guys. I know you're there. You can say hi to me. Is this making sense? Okay. So we've got that. And let me come back over here. The mapping across process. This is so powerful. Had a client recently that she was really stuck. Hey, Sandra, thank you so much. Hey, Fran, thank you. Hi, hello. If I ever do a Facebook Live, I promise I'll say hello. All right. She had a situation where, she's in real estate, really high end sales. Everything was kind of stuck. She was kind of had some other business situations that weren't working for her, and felt like it was tying her up. It's taking a lot of time and energy for her. And she knew she needed to move forward. And it just felt like everything was just kind of stagnating. And everything was starting to swirl around this negative situation. So I took her through this process. By the end of the process, she said, "Oh my God, I feel like me again." I didn't realize how much time and energy that was taken. And now I have clarity on what the next steps to take. I have clarity on what was actually holding me up. Okay. And so this is why we want to do this. All right. So we want to think about 2 points in time. There's where you are now, and where you see yourself having fulfilled your vision. So we've set this thing called a time frame for an example of 90 days, and you want to generate $50,000 income. If does that scare you a little, guys? I met someone who said, I want to just go out and see how much money I could generate in a day. I just am going to do this personal challenge and see what I could get shaken. And by the end of the day, he made $1 million. I know. And it was just because making deals, having conversations, finding out, as he spoke to people that, you know, wound up sparking ideas and possibilities, because it seemed like because he had this clear vision of where he wanted to go to, a clear end, it naturally started putting the right people in mind, and then his own curiosity started directing him. So think about where you are now and where you see yourself having fulfilled your vision. Now, maybe you're not exactly sure on what you could do. Don't get hung up on that. Let's focus on having that clear vision of an outcome. Maybe you want to increase your income or get it stabilized now with the way the economy is, and you want to increase your income. You want to double it, okay? Whatever it is, or you want to make sure that you have a stable base, whatever it is, just get clear on that one thing, okay? As you think about that, just in your mind's eye, imagine a time in the future that has happened, and notice what 90 days feels like to you. Because we have a sense of time, right? There's more than five senses. There's more than the sixth sense, which is the successful interpretation of the other five. We have a sense of time. We have a sense of timing. We have a sense of balance, right? We have many, many senses. So get a sense of what that would look like, feel like, fulfilled in the next 90 days. And then what positive personal quality do you have that will make your vision a reality? Now, do you remember me talking about having this feeling of appreciation? And I wanted to create and manifest from this feeling of appreciation. This goes back to a basic law. As you ask, so it is given. So this energy that you're sending forward, this is how you're going to receive it, right? So we like-minded people. This is why we talk about looking for people that we love to work with and who are very much like us, and that we, at the same time, they might challenge us. But think about your personal quality. My client's personal quality that she had was her creativity and her ability to envision things. So she let those two things, our creativity and our ability to vision, be the main quality. But for you, what is a positive quality that you have? And this is why we do the exercises like on day 2, right? When we think about you know, commanding forth those aspects of ourselves. Service oriented, commitment, tenacity, and then just so you can anchor into it emotionally, think of a time that that particular quality helped you succeed in anything, in any situation, and how it felt to succeed. So I could think about, um, I could just say friendly and courageous. And I had a situation where I had to go and confront some people that were making big problems in the office. They were yelling and screaming and carrying on. And I just charged in. My courage went over and I took a friendly but firm attitude, wound up taking complete control over the situation, not taking any BS, not kissing butt, actually literally scaring them a little bit in the most friendliest, courteous way possible. Right? But my courage pulled me through. What comes up for you? Then let's format one command statement on your goal. So let's do it right now. Let's do it. Even though you don't have 100% clarity on the other stuff, let's do a one command on your goal. Okay? So I'm just going to let you do that right now. Right now, let's just align to that goal that you have, heart to heart. We're making it up $50,000 in the next 90 days. Okay? Now I want to invite you to ground. Feel the current connection of the earth energy. Bringing your attention to your heart as you're aligning to the fulfillment of your goal and the greater good that it serves. Close your eyes. Remember to breathe. Roll your eyes up. Picture, visualize, or imagine that you are traveling up a pole of light. The higher you go, the faster you go, and soon you find yourself surrounded by that beautiful black void in space. Break through the darkness into light as you state your one command. I don't know how and then fill in the blank. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. Just let that go. Let that expand out to an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. And we're just going to unwind any resistance, any fears, any doubts, anything that's in that old scarcity mindset. We're just going to let all that go at that neurological level. And I just want to invite you to come into the state of appreciation and gratitude. Yes, yes, yes. And now feel yourself coming in. And you may notice that there's this feeling of this extra energy coming in too. Some people feel a little itchy on top of their head. A lot of stimulation there. There could be some pressure on the front of your head. That's okay. Just on your forehead, just massage your forehead in a circular way and just notice how that feels better. And then we're just going to unwind the negative and rewind this whole new potential. When you're ready, bring your attention back to your heart. Beautiful. Shake it out a little bit. Yeah, doesn't that feel lovely? Okay, we're going to go for the rest of this. All right. So then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to go back. Remember those 2 points in time where you are now, what you want to create? Remember that feeling, that quality that you identified, and it's carrying you forward. We're going to let the energy of that be the vehicle, right? Be the energy that moves you forward. So now you're going to picture, visualize, or imagine. And this is so important. And sometimes we get stuck. And if you think, well, who's your ideal client? Right? And you go, I don't know. I don't even know who I would serve or what I'd sell stuff to or what the hell I would do. I don't know who I'd like doing stuff with. You'll notice a little resistance or confusion will come up. Don't worry about it. But here's a great question to ask yourself. Who's your ideal client? I don't know. But if you did know who your ideal client was, what would you know? Who would that be? So that if I didn't know, what would I know? That question has moved me through so much in life. If I didn't know, what would I know? And maybe if I did know, how would I act? What kind of things would I say or do? Great. And so who's your ideal client or customer, and how are you going to serve them? Guys, I want to tell you too, maybe you don't think you have a business at this point. You're not quite sure what to do. But look on places like Craigslist and look and see what kinds of jobs people are hiring for. Maybe there's something you could offer in your services. Not go get a job. Maybe you want a job, but take a look on Craigslist. That's a good place to spark your interest. Another place is Facebook Market and seeing what kind of things people are buying and selling, the kind of things that they're seeking. And that could spark some ideas. Okay. So next, how are you going to connect with them? And remember, we're in this mapping across, we're moving forward. And these are just prompts, like just think about, hey, what do I want to do? And I'm moving towards that goal. And who's my customer and how am I serving them? And we're just going to start getting some information. And you're thinking about what help do I need? And who's helping you along the way? Now, it helps to kind of go through that business Canvas worksheet that I gave you, because that's going to help kind of frame your thinking a little bit so that your unconscious mind knows how to give you the right information. Right? I'm taking care of you. But then you're just going to stay with it until you can see and feel your goal being fulfilled. Okay? If you watch, when I was doing the demonstration yesterday in part 2, I just was making something up, and I'm telling you, I got such a clear vision of the thing I wanted to do. I was like, I need to go make that happen now. It gave me so much energy, and it was something I was just making up in the moment, but it's something I'd kind of been pondering on too, like, oh, what if, playing what if for a little bit, and just talking about it and putting myself in that visual mode. I almost threw myself into a whole new business. So spend some time with this. This is really a powerful method. Okay. So then you would go back, right? Once you've stayed with it, then go back to that brain dump and then change or add to what you know. Okay. And then I always like to ask, based on what you know now, what's your basic plan of action to get more sales? Okay. This is such a powerful exercise. Now, I do work with people one-on-one. If this is something you feel like you need some guidance on, I've got my work with Kathryn in the code. We can book a session, and it'd be a paid session, but we can book a session, and I would be happy to walk you through this. In fact, I work with people developing a strategic plan. One of my favorite things to do is to have a mapping session. That's a full 3-hour session. And by the end of it, we've gotten the vision. We have a good working plan, but we've also dealt with any hidden motivators or fears or doubts. But there's a good working plan. And then I always write a report based on what we did and what the steps and everything that came up and any recommendations I have. And then if someone wanted to work with me to help make it be fulfilled, then I let them know we can set up a time to make that happen and discuss the next steps. But I do this all the time. This is my bread and butter business, okay? And this one piece that you're learning here, we've been preparing you for this so that you can expand your thinking, get that vision. This is going to help bring in more plans. There's a part of you that knows exactly what to do, how to do it, and it is just hoping you will ask. It is waiting to be invited to the party. Okay. So you're basically going to stay with the vision, even though you may just have a sense of moving forward without exact details. What you're actually doing here is you're training your mind to give you information in a new way. Remember what I said when I had to retrain my mind after being on that medication for a while? Well, we have to adjust our neurology and we have to train our mind to learn how to expand and to keep seeking the next thing, because it's really easy to get locked up in your habits, right? You can talk your way through the vision. Yesterday, I showed an app called Live Transcribe that you can use to capture your ideas. It's fantastic. And of course, if you get stuck at any point, then you just do a one command on it. Okay. What do you think? Does this make sense? Was this helpful? I would really appreciate some feedback, or if there's questions. Hey, Franny. Hey, Sandra. Yeah, guys. So your assignment is going to be spending some time visioning, working with this. And for this to really be an effective process for you, you want to commit to time every week on your vision. I have a friend that's a multimillionaire, built several companies, sold them. Now he's retired because of all the companies that he built and sold, and set up both of his kids. His kids are already millionaires, running the countries, running the companies. And he does one thing every Monday. He spends time thinking about his business and visioning. And his whole Monday morning, like he's Mr. Captain of the Universe, right? And a very A-type personality guy. He committed to this every day, or every Monday. And then if he was taking people through a planning process or whatever, he always unified them in vision first, but then the actionables, and then what are the measurables? So very often we get hung up on the measurables, but we have to first create that greater vision before we know what the right action is to take. Okay. Well, my friends, that is everything that I have for you today. And we are going to meet back tomorrow. I wanted to let you know, too, that I'm going to be announcing a special coaching program that's going to help you with setting up some of the systems. Like, let's get some clarity. What do you want to create? Who's your customer? We're going to get all this businessy stuff handled, but we're going to be addressing our mindset as we go. It'll be practical, actionable, and as we work together, you're going to be able to have that accountability. So I'm going to talk more about that. Okay, because the accountability is one of the biggest things that really stop people, because when we're working on our own, we can, I'll get to it, or we'll have that excuse, or life kind of has a way of taking over. When you have that accountability, studies have shown that people are more likely to keep moving forward on their goals because they just don't want to be embarrassed, right? But it allows you to it kind of turns on your discipline. This is how we were trained. We were trained with accountability. And then when we go into business for ourselves, it's kind of like we don't have anyone to answer to anymore. And we don't know when our work stops, or what are the actions, or when it begins, and what success looks like. So we're going to be talking more about that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, I'm keeping an eye out on the chat bar and the discussion. So be sure and post your question there. So I guess that's it for me today. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. This is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery.